So this is copying a whole micro SD card. Let's see, so we've got 32 gig card, and what we're doing now is I'm going to copy on all of this onto a new 64 gigabyte card, so that in the music folder we can get almost the entirety of the Now albums archive and all the radio and so on. So now we've put in a proper one. It was going to serve out as a good example, but now by comparison it was starting to fly, except for when it slows down doing small files. But the problem is that we had another type of card which was actually a fake card, and we got this from eBay. I don't think we can really focus on it very easily now. Very difficult to do, but there it is. It says, put it down here, who cares what happens to it. It looks the part. There was a seller on eBay that was selling this card for £15, which is kind of the bargain price you can get them for, even if they are genuine. So it looks to be a 64 gigabyte micro SD card, even one that's marked as being what's known as, I think, Ultra Class 1 or something, so it should be extremely fast transfer compared to the others. I'm going to put it in. I just started doing the transfer, so what we did is got all those files up from the 32 gig, going to put even more music on. Oh my god, it's a zoom in thing now. It's coming out again, right, okay. So basically, copy all that onto the 64. And of course, I didn't realise anything was necessarily wrong when I started the copy, because it was all going quite slowly. Because sometimes, with lots of little small files, it can actually take a lot longer than it says. So, for example, you'd think it might do it all in about half an hour on a really fast card, but if there's lots of small files, it starts saying like it will take, and it was doing that before, it'll take a day or 4 days or something. And this was taking an absolute age to copy onto this card here. And it was even saying that it would take about 12 hours to complete, even when doing the videos and the MP3s. So I left it doing it, and then what do you find? You go into various folders and nothing is there. It's copied about a gig of the music, and then you look into other folders it should have done, there's nothing there. There's an explanation for that. Sellers on eBay are often selling fake SD cards that aren't at the full capacity they advertise. So what's actually physically on this chip of this micro SD card, whatever's in there, it feels pretty thin as well, because 64 gig cards are typically a little bit thicker. It's very hard to tell. Isn't 64 gig. It's hard to know what the true capacity really is, but it could be a lot lower than that, possibly even 8 gigabytes, or even lower than 4, because I didn't even seem to manage to put more than about 2 gigabytes of files on it that would actually show up afterwards. So it could be ridiculously lower than 64. What is on there? You lose a little bit on cards and hard drives through formatting anyway, but that doesn't necessarily matter that much compared to losing that amount. So what will happen is some people will take this, put it straight into a phone or a tablet, and just start using it, for example, for taking pictures or video. And then what will happen is, it may take so many pictures, the first few may show up fine, but then after a while, what will tend to happen, or what will happen, is that the files will just simply disappear into thin air. So when you put it back into your computer, you just won't be able to load it at all. You may see a folder that was created with no files in it. So they're selling these fake chips. Lots of accounts are, unfortunately. It's hard to tell. eBay doesn't seem to do much about it at all. Now, I got a refund pretty sharply, which I think is all part of the seller's plan, because they issued the refund, and after I wrote a very negative message to them about what this could actually do to people, because if you are selling these to people, some people will be taking pictures of them, which they will never get back, because a lot of people don't have a plan like I do. I've got a plan to put about 35-40 gigabytes on from the offset of music, so I'm going to know very quickly that something is wrong, but a lot of people are not going to know because you just put it into the phone or the tablet, and then you only realise once you've taken a few pictures, perhaps even weeks later when you start to take more than, say, a gigabyte's worth, that you haven't really got a massive card size. And these scammers were selling it for around the price you can get a genuine one for anyway. So they issued the refund, but I don't think it's good enough. I think eBay need to take absolute robust action to stop people doing this. So right now we've got a SanDisk instead. They're a very good brand, and as you can see why it would have been harder for me to tell, because although it looks like this is a nice fast transfer now, it looks like it's going to be done, if we can get it to focus, in about half an hour. All this music, the complete Now archives, going from Now 8 onwards. Well, as you know, when you're copying a lot of small files from the Android system over and hoping to copy it all wholesale, it slows right down. So I had no idea, really, at first, that anything was actually wrong with the card. I just thought, oh, this is taking a long time. Or it's even the fault of my the ports I got down here for being too slow. Because this USB hub here is a very problematic one. Sometimes I've noticed that you can put SD cards into this little adapter here, and it's really slow. So, for some reason, even on good, normal, genuine cards. So I kind of didn't know what was happening, and I wasted quite a bit of the weekend trying to transfer this and getting nowhere until I realised it was actually a scam card. So there you go. You know you've been warned about them. This sadly means it's more reliable to buy them from a normal shop or on eBay, because you don't know when you buy on eBay, unfortunately, whether you're really going to get an actual card or not, and because it's hard to tell who are the genuine sellers. So this is a specimen. It's not 64. So what happens is they may have an 8GB card or even less and sell it as 32 and 64, and then you'll find you not only do you not get that capacity, so the files actually drop off to mid-air once it reaches the end of its actual capacity. It's formatted to show up in Windows as being near 64, so Windows and your phone or tablet does think that you've got a high capacity card when you haven't, and that's what causes you to lose your data, because it thinks it can record video and take pictures to space that isn't even there. That's where it just simply disappears. But that's not even the end of the problems with them. What also happens is that apparently the chips, the transistors or whatever it is that's inside these things, are often of poor quality. They're chips that should have actually been destroyed. And so I noticed additional errors that I was getting, even on the space that possibly did work. There was lots of failed file transfers, with some working and others not. So it looks like the memory was particularly bad. So this is close to being completely useless, almost as worthless as the little piece of plastic off the edge of your milk bottle or something they might drop off. I don't know, whatever it is. You could try to copy a few pictures to this and hope they stay on it. Be interesting to see, because really this is close to useless, but they let us keep this. It's like having a little toy model of a Samsung 64. It is useless. But they've gone to the trouble of scamming to make it look like an official company's product. That is serious activity, and what's amazing is, although I've complained about the listing to eBay, and lots of other users have complained about these fake USB drives and SD cards, eBay does never seem to pull the sellers down. What was interesting is that we can, I haven't bothered to do like a capture of this, so I'm relying on just filming the screen, but what I can do is, see, it's now taken 4 days there. Because of this is still a genuine card, but because of that, I was thinking, well, it's just slow anyway, but that's not what was happening. Right, well, straight away in all the listings here, that one is likely to be a fake one, because I've got a 32 gig example of this design, and it's not 32 gigabytes, it's probably 8. They seem to work absolutely fine, except that they were a lot lower than it says, and it was formatted in the operating system. well, the card was formatted to look like it had that size. I would bet my life or whatever that this is not really 64GB with that one there. That one isn't, whereas these probably are if you're lucky, especially the SanDisk ones. Now this is the listing of the one that is the fake card that I actually did buy. They did a refund, but what I think was going on is they expect to have to refund some people who do realise, like I did, well, at least that works, we did get the money back, but we were inconvenienced wasting time with it, because they know that a certain percentage will not pursue a refund and not even realise until it's too late that they don't have a proper card. And they make enough profit because, even though the price is £12, which seems like a bit of a bargain, given that the genuine one was about 15, maybe 20 in some cases, if this piece of crap that isn't really a 64 is only £2 to get hold of, they can make quite a lot of profit on the people who don't return it. Now, of course, what's interesting here is that looks fairly good, and I was very lazy. I looked at 98.8% and thought, oh, that'll do. But let's see what happens when you click on this. Oh dear. Even in the past month, there's been 3 negatives. And what are the negatives? Well, I'm one of them. There you go. Copies at snail's pace and isn't a 64GB card. That's me. But there's lots of negatives about how the SD cards that he's selling are absolutely fake. And of course, all I would have had to have done is check this, and I wouldn't have bought it. I just clicked on it, which is something you probably should never do on eBay for any item. And they're all about the same thing, so I think this seller knows perfectly well what they're doing. They're definitely selling what they know to be defective cards and hoping that most people won't pursue a refund, even though they did in my case, because there is no excuse for this. How do you do this by mistake with an oversight of a few bad batch of cards, which he said in his message back to me? Because how could this be not genuine Samsung card? You can only use 6GB out of 64, so there you go. And so that was it. It was at least inconvenient. Look at that. What's astounding also is that he does have a lot of positives, as well as some neutrals about these cards as well. So how does he get them? Do most people not check or not realise until too late? Some people even said they've lost photos of their baby because they just stuck it in a phone or a tablet and start taking pictures without really checking the card out first, and they weren't there. They probably hadn't even been recorded onto the chip in the first place. These things are little miracles, but we don't know, the average lay person, we don't know how they work, do we? So we can't verify them very easily, except for trying to use them and hoping it will work. And so it's very difficult to not be scammed in this way. And so I wish eBay would take some more robust action about it.